Good afternoon, Louisiana, and welcome to Bayou Bets for Thursday, September the 1st. It feels so good to say September.
Oh.
It is football season. It is college football season tonight with, I think there are 3 top 25 games. There's like 8 really good games on tonight that are worth watching. It goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday, LSU, Florida State, Monday on Labor Day, and then next week's the NFL. We made it, boys.
I just wrote my last NFL team preview, and I wanted to do cartwheels, but I was afraid that my hospitalization wouldn't cover me breaking my neck because of my own doing. So I decided against it.
Yeah, I don't know about any of that, but I do know that there's going to be some terrific stuff going on this weekend. It's Poppy 504 says, "Who dat?" We got to talk about the Who Dats. They've had a bad week, to be quite honest. At least in my opinion. We'll talk about a little bit about the Saints. Couple of housekeeping things first. This is Bayou Bets. We're brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook. If you have not already done so, the football season is here. It's a great time to do it. Sign up for Caesars Sportsbook. Use our promo code. Go to NOLA.com/Caesars. Get that promo code. Your first bet is risk-free up to $1,250. That means if you lose it, you get $1,250 back as a free bet, or up to that amount, whatever you bet. And you also get some, I think, 1,000 Caesars Rewards points, which puts you well on your way to getting free hotel rooms, free trips, casino credit, all that sort of stuff. So pretty cool stuff. OG Sean the Don, Who Dat for life. Yeah, let's talk about the Saints just a little bit, guys, and we'll talk about some other housekeeping things as we go. Earlier this week, Saints trade CJ Gardner-Johnson. That was on Tuesday. Spencer and I talked about it a little bit on the fantasy show. Kind of surprising. We know he's had a kind of a contract holdout problem. And then today, really bad timing. You just traded your starting safety. Another starting safety, Marcus Maye, was arrested and posted bail today for aggravated assault. We don't know where that's going to go, but it's a complication at a time.
He gone.
The Saints don't need him, Jim.
He gone. I mean, I can tell you, I'd be surprised if he's not gone. He's already in trouble. He's already facing a suspension the first, 4 games or 6 games of the season. They bring him over. The Saints are deep there. I mean, maybe not as deep as they were going into the week, but I don't think – this is not a team that fools around with that kind of stuff. It would surprise me if he plays a single down for this team.
Is the Saints' depth in the secondary enough to get them through without Gardner-Johnson? And now if they do not bring back Marcus Maye, Spencer?
Yeah, so this is terrible news in my opinion for the Saints because with now your safety depth's razor thin. I mean, outside of Honey Badger, you don't have much there. I mean, can we really trust Daniel Sorensen and PJ Williams? I mean, maybe they'll step up, but I'm not really feeling that. I mean, it was looking like a position of strength, and now is quite frankly looking like a position of weakness because outside of Tyrann Mathieu, there's no one really reliable there. So yeah, very, very disappointed by this. It was looking like the secondary might be a strength for the Saints this year, but it just seems to be a curse, man. The secondary never seems to be deep. It's crazy.
I don't agree with that at all. I really don't. I mean, I think PJ Williams has shown that he is certainly capable of being a starter. The way he's played in the recent past, I think proves that he is going to be fine back there. Would you rather Marcus Maye? Sure. But at the same time, you can't afford to upset the equilibrium of this locker room, which is what the number one thing that the Saints look for in balance. And I'm no Sorensen fan. I think he's serviceable as a nickel guy and a guy when you need to play him. But my son can't stand him. He was really upset when he made the team. But and you trade CJ Gardner-Johnson, you talk about it and why, because another locker room deal. I mean, I read all over the place in some media people as well, talking about how this is ridiculous. You trade him for basically nothing. Yeah, they traded him for basically nothing to get him off of this squad. There's a reason why they wanted him to. They're not going to let things linger into this season. And I think PJ Williams just can be fine. It does hurt the depth, but I don't think it hurts the overall potential quality of what the defensive backfield is going to be.
I'm with you, Jim. I think they'll be fine until there's an injury, which there's bound to be at some point. Maybe that means they've got to go swing another trade. Go find somebody off of another team's practice squad and sign him up. Something to increase that depth. I don't know. JT Gray is back there as well. I know he's more of a special teamer, but he is a safety by trade.
And
Bradley
also,
Roby
Gray,
safety.
Yeah, and Gray also played quite a bit back there at safety, and to me showed at times that he could be certainly serviceable as a number 2.
Man, I hope y'all are right about PJ Williams, because I surely don't trust him.
Hey, listen, he's had some bad moments. That is for sure, and I think that sticks in the memory. But listen, every defensive back's got a bad moment at some time or another. I mean, you can't help it. In that
Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah, with the other Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
Who we're missing right now, man. We still had Marcus. I know everyone would get on him, but man, I miss him, man, because that free safety spot now is a gaping hole, it looks like.
It is, and I love the comments coming in. Keep them coming. It is a kind of a sliding doors moment, though, isn't it? Like the incident with Marcus Maye happened on Monday. They traded CJ Gardner-Johnson on Tuesday. Did they know about Maye before that? I mean, would they have made that trade or just bitten the bullet and said, "Okay, CJ, you're going to play and you're going to play for this contract, and so be it"? If they had known Marcus Maye had gone and done this, like the timing of it is insane to me. The incident with Marcus Maye happens on Monday. The trade happens on Tuesday, and then the Marcus Maye news comes out publicly today. So seriously interesting.
I mean, my guess is I don't think that would have mattered. I think they would have done the same thing anyway. CJ Gardner-Johnson was not going to play for this team, and you could tell. I mean, he's a guy that if his heart's not in it, he's not going to be the same player. And so it was clear that with him missing this time here and there and contract disputes, it was going to linger on and be a problem in this season, and you can't have that.
Yeah, it has been a week, and the Saints open up a week from Sunday, 10 days from now, against the Atlanta Falcons. By the way, the line hasn't moved. It's still 5.5. Their win total hasn't moved. We'll talk more about that because it is NFC South week, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. First, I do want to say we'll have more analysis on this in tomorrow morning's Bayou Bets newsletter. You can get that Bayou Bets newsletter straight to your inbox 6 days a week. If you haven't signed up, go ahead and do so. NOLA.com/Bayou Bets. All you got to do is put in your email. It's free. Comes every day, 6 days a week. I put that slide down, and you guys are like taking drinks and hopping all over the place.
You didn't leave it up long enough.
NOLA.com/Bayou Bets. Now, I faked you out with that. I'll admit it. So check that out.
You got me.
And also we'll check out if you haven't already, every Thursday we're back with James Carville, and we're going to post that on our new YouTube channel. So I know a lot of y'all are watching on Facebook or on the NOLA.com YouTube page. Please check out our Bayou Bets YouTube page. Like it, subscribe it.
And Facebook page.
Tell your friends about it, and our Facebook page. James Carville, his season preview edition is up on the Bayou Bets YouTube channel. So make sure you'll search Bayou Bets and you'll get a bunch of our past videos. Go to the channel, give it a like, subscribe to it, and help us out. Help us grow the brand. And basically that means we can keep doing more of what we're doing.
Not only that, Zach, tomorrow we have our first live Datitude. It is going to be JD Squared. Duncan and myself will be going on live at 9:15 a.m. tomorrow on many of these NOLA.com YouTube channels and our Facebook bet.NOLA page. And so make sure you check that out.
Absolutely. The bet.NOLA Facebook page and YouTube page. Subscribe to it, like it, follow it, share it with your friends, do all of that. Classic says, collect a 5th-round pick and swap. You force him to play out his current contract or let him walk.
You can't force anybody to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
You can't force anyone to do anything.
We said this on Tuesday. We don't know exactly what that situation was like. We don't know how toxic it was. You have to trust that the Saints know better than we do as far as what that was going to be like, forcing him to play. But at the same time, Kyle's also right now. GJ was not the only one who missed those 5 games. But yeah, look, he's a good player. Marcus Maye's a good player. It's not good news. I'm not trying to say it's good news.
Yeah, neither am I. I mean, I'm not trying to say it's good news either. But you can't have malcontents in your locker room. It doesn't work, especially with all the things that are going on. You got basically a whole new receiving core. You got new guys in the defense. Teran Matthews trying to come over and basically be the captain of this defense, along with Demario Davis and Cameron Jordan. And they're trying to figure out chemistry. And you can't, when you're trying to figure out chemistry, you can't have a bad apple in there. You just can't. And Gardner-Johnson was going to be a problem. There's no question he was going to be a problem. This team would not have let him go, and they basically let him go. I mean, here's your little niblets, but I mean, they basically let him go, and it's okay.
Yeah. $4 million is not a small difference, as Jerry points out, when you're talking about salary cap.
Especially with this team's salary cap. They are in salary cap purgatory. They don't have a lot of money to spend, and they don't have the room to make it work.
Look, I'm still, and you guys can feel free to disagree with me, Spencer. I don't know. I'm still much more concerned about the offensive line than I am of the secondary, if you're talking about weak points on the Saints.
Yeah, I'm somewhat concerned about the offensive line. I mean, I don't think the Trevor Penny news is quite as bad as some are making it out to be, because I feel like Hurst will at least be an okay starting left tackle. I mean, he's a downgrade over Armstead for sure, but he's not the worst thing in the world. I feel like as long as the interior guys stay healthy, the O-line should be okay. And especially Andres Pete, man, he's really let the Saints down. And recently he's got to stay out there and prove that he's worth the contract they paid him a few off seasons ago.
Don't be dismissing on Throckmorton, buddy.
He's solid
awesome
depth.
What an awesome name. Classic says it's conjecture on Gardner-Johnson. Yeah, it is. It is. But
all of this is.
I maintain that the Saints are going to know better than we are. We are conjecturing. The Saints know. They know what it's like in that locker room. They know whether they could afford to do that. And so you have to trust that. Now, could it blow up in their face? Sure, this is the NFL. Listen, it's not easy. It never will be easy to win. And everything could blow up in your face.
What did Jerry Glanville used to say? Not for long, pal. That's what the NFL stands for. I mean, you don't play by the rules. Whatever your team's rules are, you're not for long. And CJ was not for long with the Saints.
We'll see him week 17 in Philly.
Maybe.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Maybe he runs himself out of Philly, too.
We could talk all day about this. We do have other stuff to get to. And for Saints fans, the good news is, out of all of this, you're still not the Falcons. So let's go into the NFC South. The Falcons might be the worst team in the NFL this year. I wouldn't put them as the worst, but I'd put them as one of the 3 or 4 worst. So let's look at their odds first as we finish up our NFL preview with the NFC South. Atlanta Falcons, 250-1 to win the Super Bowl, 35-1 just to win the division. Win total 5, and it's actually juiced toward the under, Spencer.
Yeah, not a whole lot to like with the Falcons. I mean, I do think they might be a tad bit better than some are thinking, but they've already today, I saw they put a bunch of guys on IR. It's a clear rebuild over there. They're not sugarcoating it. I don't think they're really expecting to contend. So it's gonna be a long year for the Falcons. They're gonna be playing around with the quarterback situation. Mariota's probably going to start, but he'll probably get benched in favor of Desmond Ridder, who's got some upside, but he's kind of inaccurate, so he'll probably be a little inconsistent. Calvin Ridley suspended. It's just, a lot of question marks, but they're not a team to just take for granted either. They do still have some talent over there.
If you put 10 cents on the Falcons to win the Super Bowl and they win it, you get $25. Save your dime. Don't even put 1 cent on them to win anything. You can't bet on the under either because it's too low. If like I said in my video the other day, I would bet the under. This team is a mess, and they're getting close to needing complete overhaul because there isn't a single position where I say, you know what, they're pretty good there, except maybe defensive back. They may actually have. Tight end. Well, Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts. Yeah.
You got a point there. Kyle Pitts is good. Their defensive backfield is pretty good. So other than that, there isn't a single position on this team that is better than the Saints. Tight end and their defensive backfield. Other than that, the Saints are better than them in every way. And looking at their schedule, which is not easy. I mean, they might only win 2 games. This is a team that is definitely going to be in the running for the number 1 pick in the NFL draft next year.
I kind of think that's their plan, honestly. They didn't spend up on one in 2022 after they traded Matt Ryan. That they're kind of quote unquote tanking this season and then gonna get either Young or Stroud with the top pick, unless Ridder would pan out. They took the flyer on Ridder, in the 3rd round. But if he doesn't, well, it's not like if it's just a 3rd round pick. We have 3rd round picks are just a dime a dozen these days.
Is Stroud eligible to come out after this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He redshirted it.
He'll be he's expected to be the 1 or 2 pick with Will Anderson, the linebacker from Alabama.
I thought he was in his second year.
No, he's second year starter, but yeah, he is eligible. So the Falcons, I mean, look, if the Saints are going to be competitive this year, you got to sweep Atlanta. You have to. You have to beat them in Atlanta, and then you got to beat them in New Orleans. So from that respect, there's some pressure in that Week 1 game. I mean, obviously, you always want to get out to a good start, but you got to. I mean, you turn around and play the Bucs the next week, and then Week 3, another pretty big game. You go to Charlotte to play the Carolina Panthers. So let's move on to the Panthers. Not quite as dire of a situation here, especially Sam Darnold's on the IR, but they got Baker Mayfield. And people forget Baker Mayfield has never been a great player. 2019 and 2020, he was a serviceable quarterback. And the Panthers didn't have that last year. So that you add a serviceable quarterback, possibly a healthy Christian McCaffrey, this team could cause some problems.
He's better than serviceable. I think he's average. So, I mean, you want to talk about, I think he'll end up 15, 17, somewhere in that when it comes to rating or yardage, however you want to look at it. And I think this team is much improved. There is major value on this win total of over 6.5. I think this team, not only that, I think there's major value. Put the graphic up real quick again, Zach. To make the playoffs, yes, at 360. That is immense value, and so is to win the NFC South at plus 1,100. Saints fans might not want to hear me say this, but I think the Panthers and Saints are pretty close. I mean, I think the Saints are a little bit better, but I think that if McCaffrey remains healthy, that this team is a winning team. I think they win 9 games. I've already made my prediction and put it in print. So I think that the Panthers are, along with the Vikings, are probably the 2 best values in the NFC. If you would ask me 2 months ago, I would have said it was the Saints, but now, because of all the bets that have come in on the Saints and their numbers that have changed, I think the Panthers and the Vikings are the 2 best values in the NFC. I think the Panthers finish with a winning record.
Wow, that's a strong take there. And let's talk about those odds changing, because they've changed on the Saints, and in conjunction with that, they have changed on the Tampa Bay Bucks, who were minus 400 to win the NFC South. Maybe it was 380 at the beginning of the summer.
380.
Yeah, it's dropped the whole dollar down to 280. So not a lot of faith in the Bucks, at least at that high price. The win total 11.5, but juiced pretty heavy to the under. I don't know. The Bucks seem like there's always a team that you think is going to be good and they fall off. They seem like a candidate for that spot in the NFL, which would obviously be good for the Saints.
Well, yeah, and we talk about it with Adam Chernoff, our expert, and he said, maybe the bet is you can find at some places the Bucks not to win the division. You can find that. I don't know if you can find that at Caesars or not, but you can find that at certain places for them not to win the division. I also like the to make the playoffs. That is not right, Zach. No, minus 480. I think you got the pluses and the minus flipped, inverted there.
Yes,
I think that should be no plus 480
and
to not make the playoffs. And I think that is also a decent bet. If you don't want to bet on the Saints or the Panthers, but you like both of them. Now, if you like one of them and you don't agree with me about the Panthers, I'm sure there's very few people out there not agreeing that. I mean, I'm not giving any spoiler alerts. I've said for months that I think the Saints are going to be good. I think they'll be much better than the 7.5, up now 8.5 win total. So I'm not giving spoiler alerts. Tomorrow is our preview on the Saints, by the way. But Tampa Bay, and Spencer wrote about this in his fantasy column as well, that is this a year that Tom Brady regresses? I know that we say that every year, but you got to wonder when he misses 2 weeks of training camp. He's 45 years old for real now. Gronkowski's gone. He's got injuries at the wide receiver position already, although it looks like his big guys may be back for week number 1. But they're just a couple injuries waiting to happen. Their offensive line isn't as good as it was last year. They're a couple injuries away from being in trouble. And I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be as good as they were last year, and certainly not as good as they were 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think Kyle Brister put it in the comments a little earlier, like, Tom Brady looked weird in that press conference the other day, man. He looked like he had some Botox, or
That's what Adam said too.
He was smoking something or something. I mean, like, that guy, like, and look, we're talking about an all-time great. I get it, and nothing can take away from that. The guy's won 7 Super Bowls, unbelievable career. He doesn't look totally invested to me right now, and I don't care who you are. If you're an NFL quarterback and you're not totally invested, this league is going to eat you alive. Maybe he flips a switch Maybe he doesn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. As much as I hate to say it, I think he flips the switch and is just fine. I don't see him. He didn't show any real signs of decline last year, and I know he's missed training camp some, but I mean, he's got a rapport with all the receivers, and I mean, Julio's new, but they showed that in the limited time he was in camp, him and Julio like clicked instantly, and makes sense being that when Julio's healthy, he's still got it. So I mean, yeah, I do admit that injuries could catch them, but if they're healthy, they're going to win this division. I mean, there's just no doubt. As much as I like the Saints this year, I just feel like it's still going to be Tampa Bay, because about Carolina, I didn't get my counterpoint in with that. I am not buying them at all. I feel like Baker Mayfield's going to flop. I don't see him being able to live up to the pressure. But that's just me. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. I know Jim thinks he's pretty good, but I just hated what I saw from him last year.
Word.
And he's a malcontent. He was a malcontent in this off season. I know the Watson saga was a lot to deal with, but I don't know, man. I just don't trust him. I feel like he's just kind of a brat. Like I don't think he's gonna live up to the pressure.
I hate taking up for Baker Mayfield, but he was not a malcontent at all until you're talking about a team you started for 3 years, and out of the blue, they jump into Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. So I'd be pretty pissed off too if I was Baker Mayfield. And he was never a malcontent about anything before that moment. So again, the thing about Baker Mayfield is, even if he flops, and you may be right, Spencer, but he could flop on his head, dig his head in the turf, break his 2 ankles, and still be better than Sam Darnold, who was awful last year. And that was without Christian McCaffrey. And they still won, 5 or 6 games, or however many games they won. There's just no question. And their defense was second ranked in the NFL last year. Will they be second ranked again this year? Probably not. But even if they're in the top 6 or 7 and their offense moves from 30th to 18th, which is more than a possibility if McCaffrey stays healthy, then they will be in the running to win 9 games. That's basically what I'm saying.
It's
For sure.
There's a lot of week 1 games to look forward to, but boy, Panthers-Browns is going to be
good.
Theater. I will watch that game.
Panthers-Browns and Broncos at Seahawks. You don't think the NFL has a sense of humor?
Yeah, come on. The Panthers-Browns, they didn't even know where Baker was going to go.
That's true.
That's just a stroke of luck. But listen,
maybe they did know.
That.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson, 11-game suspension, return date at Houston.
Yeah,
maybe they did know.
Maybe they did. Maybe this is all just orchestrated, and we're all just.
It's a lot more things orchestrated than any of us know about.
By the way, I want to correct something on those Bucks odds because they were way off on that slide. The yes for the Bucks to make the playoffs is -650. The no is +460. So some pretty good value there, almost 5-1 on the no. If you do think this is the year that finally the Bucks fade. Here's your NFC South odds overall. Or tell you what, let's take a look at the Saints first. We've done this before, but like I said, the Marcus Maye news this morning did not change these odds, at least up through about the 3 o'clock hour when I last checked. They were 5-1 to win the NFC South to start the offseason. Now just +320. A lot of sharp money on the Saints. The win total has gone from 7.5 to 8.5. It's been a bad week, Jim. Are you still buying the Saints?
Yeah, I just don't think that they're as big a value as they were. I mean, they still creeping up. I mean, people are still betting. Now, the pros got their bets in on the Saints when they were 7.5. And I'm not a pro, but I got my bet in on the Saints at 7.5. I got my division odds at 500. So long before they started moving up. But they're still moving up. I had to go back in and check as I was doing my preview a little while ago. They were -120 at 8.5 on Monday, and today they're -130. So they're still going up. I don't think Marcus Maye is not going to move a needle for any team. That's not going to change any numbers. But I still think they're a value, but I think that Minnesota and Carolina are better values in the NFC as of today. 2 months ago, I would tell you the Saints are the best value. Minnesota and Carolina are the best values in the NFC today.
I mean, look, there's just a huge difference between +500 and +320 when we're talking value.
Major.
It's a huge difference. You're talking about.
I wouldn't buy it now.
Yeah, at 5-1, that's an expected, I think, I have to do the math in my head, 16.7%, I think, to win the division. 320 is more like 30%. That's a big difference.
I agree with Spencer that I think Tampa Bay is going to win the division. I mean, when I start talking things about Tampa Bay, I mean, people take things the wrong way when you start analyzing a team. I don't think they're going to be bad. I still think they're going to win 11 games. I just don't think there's no value on any, from the betting perspective. You cannot bet on this team in any shape or form unless you wanted to put a little bit of money down and then for them to miss the playoffs. But I still think overall they're the best team in the division. I still think they're going to win the division, but it's going to be super tight. And I think they're going to be 2 teams in the race this year instead of 1. And I think it's going to come down to the end.
Well, in the way you're talking, Jim, you may be 3 teams. It could be a situation where Bucks win 11, Saints win 10, Panthers win 8 or 9, you know,
that's what I have.
And the Falcons get buried. Spencer,
Exactly
your thoughts on the Saints, you know, overall? Like, obviously, yes, it's been a bad week. That secondary is not what we expected. But are you still buying the Saints overall?
Yeah, I still think the Saints make the playoffs, and a lot of that has to do with the front 7, and specifically the front 4. The defensive line is lethal up there. I mean, it's just like with Cam Jordan leading it, and you're going to have Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport. To where, I mean, that could be the best trio of defensive ends in the entire NFL. I'm really feeling good about that. And then Pete Werner, hope he'll take a step up to boost the linebackers. Even with the secondary looking weak, I still think the Saints defense is a top 5 unit. And the offense with the improved receiving core, I mean, I still think this is at least a 9, maybe a 10-win team. And if you get breaks, then you never know, could win the division. But I'm thinking 9 or 10 wins and sneaks in a wild card.
The first 10 weeks are key, Zach. If you look at the schedule, they've got to go 7-3 or better. And because the schedule, the 3 weeks before the bye week, and I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I believe it's Rams at San Francisco, at Tampa Bay, and they don't have their bye week until 14. So, I mean, that's a potential 3-game losing streak. I'm not saying they will lose all 3, but if you're not 7-3 by then, I think you're in deep trouble. So I think that's what Saints need to look forward to, which is why you go back to talking about you have to beat Atlanta twice, and you have to go at least 2-2 against Carolina and Tampa Bay combined, which means you can go 1-1, I think, against each of them. Or if you lose 2 to Tampa Bay, you got to beat Carolina twice, which is not going to be an easy feat. So you got to go 4-2 in the division. It's not going to be super easy to do it, but it's a must if they're going to get to 9 or 10 wins.
Peyton Turner, he's got to stay healthy. I mean, look, you want to talk about conjecture. We're conjecturing what he looks like when he's healthy. So, yeah, I can't tell you to believe in that. Same thing with Marcus Davenport, quite frankly. He's not healthy.
Yeah, I mean, Davenport's probably the one I'd be more concerned about. If anything, if Davenport will get hurt again, and Peyton Turner will probably end up being the one that does more. I mean, because Davenport's been so injury-prone. Peyton Turner has only had 1 year. I mean, come on, Kyle, don't give up on the man just because of that. He is a first-round draft pick.
But yeah, listen, it's a game changer if those guys stay healthy for the pass rush. So that's a big deal. Save those thoughts on the Saints schedule, because we are going to go through game by game next week when we do a little Saints preview this time next week on Thursday. Kind of want to talk about what we think and do a final record prediction before the NFL season starts. Here's your NFC South odds. We showed them to you before. You know, again, Saints number has come way down. Any value there is probably gone at this point. Panthers at 11-1. Jim, you see that as intriguing, I think.
Yeah, and again, when sports betting writers talk about value somewhere, it doesn't mean to run out and I think the Panthers are going to win the division. That's not what I'm saying. What I think is if you ran this season over 11 times, the Panthers are going to win this division at least once, potentially twice, maybe even 3 times. I think they're good enough to win this division, which means that is why I think there is value on plus 1,100. Why I think there's the best value on the Panthers than anybody else in the NFC, except maybe the Vikings, because I think if you ran this season 10 times, they would win more than 6 games, probably 7 or 8 times. Again, injuries are going to have a lot to do with it. Baker Mayfield's adjustment to the Panthers and Matt Rule and their new staff is going to have a lot to do with it. I just think if you're looking for value, the value in the Saints is gone. It was there 2 months ago. It's not there anymore. I still think they will win more than 8.5 games. So if you want to bet on it for fun, go for it. But if you're looking for value and you want to make money, your best value is on the Carolina Panthers.
Spencer, kind of sounds to me like if you're not buying the Panthers, the Bucks certainly can't bet them at minus 280. You're probably a no play here.
Yeah, I mean, it may be still the Saints. I mean, I know it's not as good a value as it was, but I mean, if you're still feeling pretty good about the Saints and haven't bet them yet, I mean, plus 320 is not a total ripoff. You know, I mean, it's not a great value, but it's still, it could still be worth a play because I just don't see Atlanta or Carolina doing it, and then Tampa Bay obviously is no value at minus 280.
Zach, what you have to ask yourself if you want to bet on the Saints is this: take your magic carpet cape off for a minute. Take your ride to 17-0 in your head dream season out of the equation for a minute and be as realistic as possible. If you ran this season 3 times, would the Saints win the division once? If your answer is yes and you want to make a bet on them, then bet on them. If your answer is, I'm not sure, that's about right, that means you're not getting value and stay away from it. It's as simple as that. So look for other values to bet on the Saints, and I would suggest really, at this point, the better chance for you to win money on futures with the Saints is probably with look-ahead lines, which you can find all over Caesars Sportsbook. You can bet on any week you want. If you think the Saints are going to beat the Bucks twice, go for it. You can get value in there right now.
All right, we're going to have to pivot from the Saints. We're starting to get these big-time reactions. Yeah, if they have 2 more weeks like this one, if they lose 4 more starters, then say that about any team in the NFL, that if they take 4 starters off their team, and let's see what they look like. So
thanks for watching, but
yeah, listen, it's been a bad week. It has, and they can't afford another one like this. It's true, but it's just 1 week. They had we talked about a couple weeks ago how smooth of a camp they were having, and now it's sort of they've hit some rough waters. Okay, it's the NFL. It's going to happen. But I want to pivot to the college game and South Louisiana's other favorite team, and this is who we're going to talk about.
Raging Cajuns?
All week long.
Yeah.
No, not Spencer.
That's the Spencer.
Not Spencer.
I got my red on today.
That would be the Bayou Bengals of LSU. They play Sunday at 6:30 in the Dome. 3-point favorites over Florida State. This one's interesting. Again, we've got more shows coming your way. 1 p.m. live on Saturday from the new Caesars Sportsbook inside Harrah's, New Orleans. 4 p.m. Sunday, weather permitting, we're live from Champion Square. Leading up to the game, if it's rainy, we'll be back at the casino. But it's going to be a lot of fun. LSU 3-point favorite. I was talking to Jordy Culotta on the Baton Rouge radio show this morning. And I think the difference in this one, if I had to choose a difference, because I think this line is about right, and I'm not going to play it if it sticks at 3. I think the difference in this one is probably LSU's defensive line getting into the backfield and causing Florida State some problems. If I had to pinpoint one area, that's where I'm going.
Spencer, you take this one first.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, LSU gonna have to be ready for this. This is huge for them. This is gonna kind of set the tone for their whole season. I feel like kind of like when they had that UCLA disaster. It kind of set the tone. They gotta not have that. You want to start off strong, and yeah, I mean the battle up front is gonna be big. The defensive line is gonna have to step up and make some plays up there, which I think they'll be able to do. I'm not as worried about this. I don't think Florida State's as good as people are making them out to be. I feel like LSU should come out okay, but definitely can't take it for granted, being that the quarterback situation still a little unsettled, so the defense is going to have to play lights out.
Zach?
I'm here. I'm
okay.
sorry. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you're waiting for me.
My take.
Live TV.
Defense.
I thought you were.
Up,
Kyle asked if LSU has a quarterback. We think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. They say they've chosen someone, but they have not yet announced who it is publicly. So that's what the story is.
It makes you wonder why they wouldn't tell people. I mean, it's not going to change Florida State's game plan at all to know whether it's Jaden Daniels or Garrett Nussmeier. What difference does it make? I don't.
I don't.
I mean, this is kind of making me weird about Brian Kelly already. But it's sort of like Saints Falcons. It's a must win for LSU if they're going to be relevant at all. It's the most important non-conference game that they've played in, not counting a bowl game, in many years. I mean, they've got to win this game if they're going to have any chance to be in a real bowl game. I'm not talking about the Poulan Weed Eaters Bowl or the Gasparilla Bowl or something like that. I mean, they could still make that, but they've got to win this game because I'm with Spencer. I don't think Florida State is as good. I mean, people don't even think they're that great, and I still don't think they're that good. I mean, so they beat up on Duquesne last week. So what? But LSU's defensive front has got to show up. Whoever the quarterback is, Jaden Daniels, has to play well. And I know that there's a lack in the running game. John Emery is going to be gone for the first 2 games. Decent wideouts, Kayshon Boutte. Let's see how he does with Daniels. But LSU's got to win it, and I think they've got to win semi-convincingly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go you one better. If you're LSU and you lose this game, you might not make a bowl game at all.
I agree.
It sounds dramatic, but you start looking at the schedule, that SEC West schedule, and from the East they get Tennessee and Florida. You don't have a gimme. You don't have a Vandy or a Missouri or even a South Carolina from the East. You've got Tennessee and Florida, plus your SEC West schedule. You start counting wins. I don't know where you get to 6 if you don't get this one. They got Southern. Okay, they got New Mexico. Okay, they got I can't remember who it is they play at the end of the year. South Alabama, right?
I'm not sure.
But you got 3 there.
I know this, the easiest SEC team that they play, you could debate between Mississippi State and Ole Miss.
Yeah, and I think it's Mississippi State, and they get them at home, so maybe you win that game. But
they might only win 1 or 2 SEC games.
Yeah, if you lose this game, you're going to be an underdog basically in every SEC game except for maybe Mississippi State at home. So this is a very important game. Now, having said that, I actually think Brian Kelly is going to be just fine long term.
Eventually.
He's recruiting well. He's proven it at Notre Dame. I just don't think – I'm not buying LSU this season. I think it's a transition year. Agreed. I do think they win Sunday night, but I think if they lose, it could be big trouble for LSU. Want to remind you to sign up for our newsletter, NOLA.com/Bayou Bets. Also, check out our new YouTube channel. Give it a subscribe. Give it a like. Help us out. Trying to grow the brand. And to that end, let's talk tonight. Jim, I think you got a big pick in tonight's game.
I do.
On the Daily Best Bets.
I went through and I actually looked through these pretty good before I picked 2. I really like Purdue tonight at home against Penn State. I'm not quite sure why Purdue is the underdog at home, coming off of a 9-win season. This was 3.5 earlier, so I don't know if this changed to 3 since I wrote Best Bets this morning. Maybe it did. But I think the pros like Purdue as well. Penn State has got a lot of changes going on, and they only have, I believe, 10 returning starters from last year. From a mediocre team, I believe they only won 4 games in the Big Ten last year. So I really like Purdue. They have their quarterback returns off of a 3,800-yard passing season. That is my number 1 pick. And I also like I wish Devin was here. I miss Devin right now because he would tell me who he liked in the Ball State Tennessee. He would tell me if 35.5 is too much in that Ball State Tennessee game. I would like that. But I'm looking forward to the West Virginia-Pittsburgh game too.
Boy, that's going to be fun.
The backyard brawl, as they call it. They haven't played it since 2011 because they were both in the Big East, and since they got out of the conference and haven't been conference mates, they haven't played that in a while. That is going to be fun to watch. And I agree, Kyle. Oklahoma State, I don't think that's enough points. I think Oklahoma State is going to be pretty fun. And we know Central Michigan is usually tough. And it's usually like a 7 or 8 win team, but I agree.
That's Jim McElwain's team.
Yeah. So I think Oklahoma State, but I think that's not enough points, and that one is going to be fun to watch too. So real football tonight, and actually some fun ones, including Louisiana Tech at Missouri. No offense, Zach, but Missouri shouldn't be given 20.5 points to anybody, including the Bulldogs.
Take the Tigers and lay the 3 touchdowns.
Not doing it.
Do it. We're going to see 7 o'clock tonight. Spencer, you got to play tonight?
None that I feel too strongly about. I mean, I might play Tennessee, though. I think they're going to win that vibe more than the.
Oh, you can't bet against Mike New. Come on, the former voodoo coach.
I'm going to have to, man. I don't think that just, I mean, I don't know much about Ball State, but I know Tennessee is pretty darn good this year, so I think they're going to win that pretty handily.
And I will say this about Tennessee, and that's a big spread. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with 35.5, but Josh Heupel, and this goes back to his days as offensive coordinator at Missouri. Against bad teams, can he roll up the points. Yeah. Now, against good teams, they struggle a little bit, but he's not afraid to put up a 70 burger on somebody. And so 35.5 points, not that much when you've got somebody who's going to score 63 or 70.
Does Mizzou put up 50 burgers, 60 burgers on anyone?
I guess we're going to find out.
See, Kyle's with me.
I don't think Kyle doesn't like it either. It's,
he's not with me. Okay.
Louisiana Tech is interesting because Sonny Cumbie, the former Texas Tech quarterback and an air raid disciple, is the new coach in Ruston. And so they're going to try to put up big points. Now, I will say this. When you're a team like that and you don't have very good skill players, bad things can happen. So I don't know. You try to play fast, and all of a sudden you go 3 and out, and your defense gets tired, and bad things can happen there. But it's interesting. And the other one, boys, I want to point out is the bottom one. I put this on here. Portland State, San Jose State. Now, this is what I love about college football. And again, if Devin were here, he could tell us more. You get some cockamamie game like this that nobody pays any attention to. The line this morning was like 22.5, 23. It went all the way down. It bombed down to like 17.5. It moved. Just huge movement. And then it popped all the way back up to 21.5. So
the pros are playing little games.
Yeah,
pros are playing some games.
Somebody may be trying to get a middle. You may have two tout services telling you opposite things. I don't know.
No.
It's a fascinating line. So I'm actually curious to see what happens in that one. Kyle says he likes Tech. Listen, man, these are fighting words.
Exactly. It's Missouri.
These are fighting words.
Sorry, Zach. It's Missouri.
Tigers, baby. 20.5. Lay the points.
I tell my boy Derek Gould the same thing. It's Missouri.
Yeah, okay. It's fair. It is Missouri, and it does happen. But I think they'll actually take care of business against Tech. Don't know about the spread. Saturday's big games, honestly, in the 11 o'clock hour, which is what's going to be going on when we're live at Caesar Sportsbook, 1 p.m. on Saturday. There's not a lot of big games. North
Carolina's only given App State.
Yeah, I pointed out that one because that's interesting to me. North Carolina's only -1 up in the mountains at App State. And then the big games everybody knows about. Houston's only laying 4 against Texas San Antonio. Spencer, anything here stick out to you?
Yeah, again, not a whole lot. I need to brush up a little more on college, but I'll probably think probably to Georgia, Oregon. I would think Georgia starts off strong and wins that pretty handily. And they might not do quite as well as they did last year as far as the conference, SEC play. But I mean, Oregon, the new head coach there, I don't see them putting up a fight with Georgia.
And Jim, I know you said you liked Ohio State. We're on opposite sides there.
Yeah, I'm going to stomp Notre Dame. Notre Dame will be out of the top. They might get beat so bad they're out of the top 20. They're number 5 right now, but Ohio State is going to stomp Notre Dame. And by the way, I like Utah as well.
I disagree with you on Notre Dame. I mean, we thought Ohio State was going to stomp Oregon last year too early in the year. I actually think Notre Dame keeps it close. And I'll tell you what, we're going to start our official pick'em game next week. But
can't wait with a clean slate, baby.
For this week, the winner, each weekly winner, gets to be Caesar the next week. So
nice.
Oh God,
I'll start as Caesar. I got the goblet. Between Jim and I, Notre Dame, Ohio State, 17 points is going to decide Caesar for week 1.
I'm so glad you didn't warn me about this because I would have.
No, this is a total surprise, baby.
Wow.
And we will do our pick'em game, and I've got extras of these because we're kind of spread out all over the Bayou. But the Bayou Bets Caesar of the week, I might even get something in here to drink next week after Notre Dame covers against Ohio State.
Wow.
These two kind of
you know what?
Eyes, though, if I'm being honest.
I gotta say, no offense to my friends at Caesars, but I hope Notre Dame covers now.
JB Smooth, baby. JB Smooth.
Oh, I like it. You best believe I'm gonna be making sure.
You'll wear it
because I'll rock that. Yeah, all right.
No.
Yeah, we have no shame. Wow. We have no shame.
If we did, we don't want any more.
That is the truth. Notre Dame plus 17. Caesar hath spoken. Yeah, and by the way, for those of you who are smart enough to sign up for our Bayou Bets listener fantasy football league,
wait, hold
second
on.
place gets a pair of these, baby.
Kyle, I'll tell you what. All the weeks that I win, there'll be plenty of them. We can have you on, and you can wear it for me.
The great thing is, for you, since you don't like these glasses, last year you would have only had to wear them like 1 out of 18 weeks.
No, that's not true. I had some great weeks. The problem is I either did unbelievably fantastic or I did god awful. There was no in between with me. It was one or the other.
Yeah, that's fair. You did have some wretched weeks, man. Maybe your wretched weeks is when we should pop the glasses on, try to get you some juju.
No, I'd had to turn them upside down. I would have had the goblet on my head.
Kyle wants the goblet. We at least got to do the goblet. You at least got to have a celebratory drink from our goblet here.
I don't know how my friends in Endymion would think if I'm holding what looks like a Bacchus cup.
It's clearly a
I'll do
Caesar's
it.
Cup. Yeah.
I'm fine with Caesar.
I'm going to bring some more to you guys this weekend so that we have it all lined up and ready to go. One last thing before we go. It is September 1st. It is pennant race season in baseball, so we'd be remiss if we didn't mention some baseball odds. If you check out our YouTube channel, James Carville has his World Series pick. I didn't even prompt him.
Cubs are beating up on them Blue Jays.
He just gave it to me. Thank you for that, by the way. The Mariners trying to get that number 1 wild card. Here are the World Series odds, and I spy some birds on bats down there that are rising up this list, Spencer. The Cardinals are red hot, baby.
Yeah, they are. I was thinking about this the other day. This team just feeling like it could be one of those special teams. It's got a nice blend of veterans, of course, with Pujols and Wainwright, and then a lot of young talent. Brendan Donovan continues to produce as a rookie. It's crazy, a lot of unexpected stuff. I mean, Pujols having a shot at 700 was completely out of the question right after the break, and now he's just raking like crazy. And then these, Goldschmidt's continued at an MVP pace. So, yeah, I feel like there's value with the Cardinals.
They're playing the Cubs and the Pirates and the Nationals, for God's sake.
No, they beat up on the Yankees and stuff, and beat the Braves. You beat the Braves over the weekend.
They did beat the Braves. That was a fun Sunday night game.
Braves.
Yeah, some great games there.
I want to know what they inject. What did they inject into Pujols? I want to know what they injected into Pujols, because there is zero chance that he just all of a sudden is now hitting a home run every other day again. I mean, he looks like
it's the record. He's chasing that 700. I mean, he wants.
I know what he's chasing. He's chasing a mummy. I mean, somebody unwrapped this dude, and now he's like hitting home.
Well, listen, it is interesting, and I didn't put it up.
I'm trying, Uncle Big Nick.
But
they started this crap.
Kyle asked, "What are the odds on Pujols hitting 700?" You can actually go
about 99.9%.
So if you think he hits exactly 700. You have to do exactly.
Oh, exactly.
Right? If he hits exactly 700, you get 9-1. If you think he gets to 701 or more, that's plus 650. I kind of like ending at 697 to 699. I think he's going to run out of time. That's plus 140. If you notice, the interesting thing is he is absolutely raking. He's raking lefties. He's not hitting righties at all.
The Cardinals are going to win this division. I'm sorry, Spence, but the Cardinals are winning this division so easy. They're going to, they might start batting them first, next week.
And the Brewers collapsed.
I mean, yeah, exactly. So they don't have anything to worry about. The Cardinals are easily going to be the NL Central champions.
In all seriousness, I don't think you can bet them because the odds are so low, but the Dodgers and Astros look like they are by far the best teams in baseball. And the Dodgers especially, played a fantastic game last night against the Mets in New York, and the Mets actually won that one 2-1. But they had Jacob deGrom starting, and he struck out 10 guys in 7 innings. They needed Brandon Nimmo to rob Justin Turner of a home run. And then they had Edwin Diaz with Timmy Trumpet, or whatever his name is, live playing the trumpet song for Edwin Diaz, and he comes out and closes the game. And that's what it took for the Mets to win one. The Dodgers are winning 2-1 right now. They're going to win that series anyway. It's nobody can. The Dodgers are winning they're playing 750 ball.
They have they haven't even lost 40 games yet.
Yeah,
it's insane. We're in
Walker Buehler, Tommy John, no big deal.
Yeah, they don't care. I mean, whatever. Oh, Clayton Kershaw just missed a month. Oh, who cares? I mean, Andrew Heaney.
We got 5 other guys.
Andrew Heaney missed 3 months. Who cares?
We signed Tyler Anderson and Tony Gonsolin, and they're both Cy Young candidates. How does that happen?
So is Dave Roberts that damn good?
I mean,
I look at it. May's back now.
It is a crapshoot in the baseball playoffs, and that's what's hard about, because the Dodgers, quite frankly, have had the best team for 5 years running. They've only won 1 World Series. It's a crapshoot when you get into the playoffs because weird things happen. But boy, they look like absolute world beaters right now, and I would not be surprised to see them make a run at 116 wins, which is the record. I think they're on pace for 113 as of right now.
Sorry, Mariners.
Well, I'd like to forget that what happened in the playoffs to that Mariners team,
sweet Lou Piniella.
Yeah, maybe this year they'll make up for it. Mariners are going to make the playoffs, though, by the way.
Who are they going to play?
The Mariners have pitching. Man, I was looking at the Mariners rotation. That's a pretty nasty rotation there.
They just swept the Tigers, and Robbie Ray and Luis Castillo were the 2 starters who didn't go in that series. They swept them with their other Tigers. Well,
yeah, that's true. Tiger.
how many other teams have
the
swept
worst
the
team?
No, they're not the worst team. The Tigers have actually been
They
playing
are
okay.
bad.
They're pretty
They
bad.
are bad.
Their lineup is not very good.
I guess the Nationals are the worst team. And the
Nationals
Tigers
are the
aren't
worst.
too far.
And I think the A's and the Royals are both worse in the AL. So the Tigers
Reds aren't very good either. I don't
Tigers
know
are bottom 5, but
Yeah,
Reds and Pirates
Pirates
stink.
Yeah,
All right.
baseball's got to do something about that. There's just too
it's
many
bad.
stinky teams. It's worse than the NBA.
It's not just there's
I
too
mean-
many stinky teams. There's too many stinky teams that stink every single freaking year.
Right.
By the way,
it's
Kyle,
ridiculous.
$100 on the Cardinals will pay $2,200 right now. They're plus 2,200. So
That's a
little
value.
payday. Yeah.
No joke.
And
All kidding
honestly, they were
aside, that's
30 to 1 like a week ago. So
And you don't want to know why that's a value? Because they are going to win their division. So they're not going to have to worry about the wild card mess.
well, they still got to play.
Well,
if you're
Oh,
They
yeah,
don't
they're
two
the 3
get buys.
seed.
Oh, that's
They're
right.
the
They'll be the
three-
3
yeah,
seed because
yeah.
of
And
the
by the
Mets.
way, that
Yeah.
could mean the Padres, the way things are lined up, which the Padres are not playing well, but they do have talent. So
I still think the Cardinals at 2,200. That might be the best value in there. Although I still think I tell you what, when the Blue Jays are hot, and they're not right now, like I said, the Cubs just beat up on them. But when the Blue Jays are hot, they're as tough to beat as anybody too. So I don't want to mess with them. So that might be a decent value as well. But other than that, I still think the Dodgers are a value at 350. I think they're going to win. I just do. I got them at 450. So
yeah, I have a hard time betting against them. The Braves are red hot. I know they lost the series to the Cardinals, but that's the only series they've lost in like 6 weeks. Or something.
And the fact that Dodgers lost last year, you could see losing. What was it, 3 years ago? Kind of, I think, gave them momentum to come back and win the World Series the next year. I think kind of the same thing. I can think they kind of took last year for granted, and the fact that they've had all these injuries, they're starting to get more healthy. Looks like Kershaw's coming back, and like Spencer said, Dustin May's back. The job that Dave Roberts has done, I think this team is going to be on a mission when it comes to October.
James Carville has a different World Series pick. Check it out on our YouTube page, Cashing In with Carville for this week. He's going to be back every Thursday to make some NFL and college football picks, talk some LSU, talk some Saints with us, the Bayou Bets YouTube channel. Do us a favor, go there and subscribe, give the videos a like, and check us out also on bet.nola
Biloxi
Facebook.
Shuckers? You like the Shuckers?
He does not like the Shuckers,
Okay.
although it is a Gulf Coast team. That's my hint. Also, our newsletter signups, you can sign up at NOLA.com/Bayou Bets.
Oh, God.
Oh my God! It's Devin. Take Central Michigan plus 21. He
There he
says.
is. Yes. Thank you. I knew we would show up. Give
I need a
him
hammer
that
because
thing.
we got to hammer the nail.
You need to mail him that Caesars thing because you don't even deserve to wear that. Send that to Devin.
Listen, after Notre Dame and Missouri both cover, we'll see who's Caesar next week, baby. We'll
please.
see.
Notre Dame, please cover. Go Missouri.
All right. For Spencer the Guru, Urquhart, and Jim Derry, I'm Zach Ewing. Hey, we're back 1 o'clock on Saturday live from Caesars Sportsbook.
Live
and
attitude.
Also 4 o'clock Sunday from Champion Square, LSU, Florida State, Sunday night. Busy weekend ahead. Happy football season, everybody. And we will see you 1 o'clock on Saturday.